Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our August edition of Microsoft News and Updates. My name is Blair Loveland. I am your Microsoft Readiness Specialist, and it's my pleasure to have you on our webinar today.
So just some housekeeping, and we'll jump right into the call. We'll be taking questions at the end. So as you know, all of you are on mute. If you press on the orange arrow, a question box will pop up. You can type your question in, and we'll read your questions and have answers for you. After the webinar, a survey will be mailed to you. Please fill that out. Give us any feedback you have about this webinar or webinars you'd like to receive in the future. Also, we're recording the webinar. If you missed it, or if you have colleagues that need to see this information, you can find it at pcm.com/webinars. Just a brief overview of PCM. I know you all are familiar with what we do, but including webinars, we offer comprehensive expertise and proven experience in emerging, advanced, and legacy technologies. To find out more information, go to our website, pcm.com, or by calling 1-800-700-1000. And with that, we're going to get started with our presentation today, and I'm going to hand it over.
So for today's agenda, we're going to talk about the Power Platform, which was launched, actually announced at the last month's Microsoft Inspire conference. We're going to provide some updates on the Microsoft Enterprise Agreement. A new Surface Summer Sale has recently launched that you'll be excited to hear about. And we're going to talk about some Inspire updates as well. If you weren't able to make our my last month's webinar on the Inspire updates, that's why we're going to recap some of those for you today in case you weren't able to make last month. So make sure you're aware of what's going on at Microsoft in the vision and the technologies and solutions that are going to help you in your business. So let's kick off with talking about the Power Platform. So the Power Platform is really a combination of applications that's going to help you analyze, act, and automate your businesses. With Analyze, you're going to be able to see the company data really in new ways with those interactive visualization tools that Power BI offers you. Act, you'll be able to build apps. It used to take months to build an app. Now with Microsoft solutions and technologies and the tools, you can actually do that in hours, not months. So you can easily connect to your data that you're collecting, that you have. And then you can automate. You can automate your tasks by integrating your apps with Microsoft Flow. So those three applications, Power BI, Power Apps, and Microsoft Flow are what comprises of the Power Platform. We're going to get into a couple of those here in just a second here. So first, we're going to talk about Power Apps, where you can build apps for both web and mobile devices. So why build apps? At Microsoft Inspire, an interesting statistic was presented that studies, and not just Microsoft studies, but they get their studies from other sources as well, that by the year 2030, there's going to be about 500 million apps that have been created and are actually in the marketplace. That's a lot of apps. I mean, figure 500 million apps. That's nuts. That's a lot. That's crazy. But it's real. It's what's coming down. It's what we're evolving to. It's what's coming down the pipe. So organizations, they're actually adopting these cloud-based, these low-code development platforms to drive the change and their digital transformation, engaging with customers, visualizing their data inside their organization. Really, just look at your phone and the app store where you get your phone and all the businesses out there. There's an app for everything. So this really makes sense. And by using those low-code application platforms, it can help you build apps from simple to complex. So you don't need those really elite programmers. Microsoft has coined the term citizen developers, which we're going to cover that in my Inspire updates. But to really help develop those apps faster and give the market quicker, and even make them simpler to the more complex with low code, and empower those your departmental IT in-house structures to deliver those apps to your employees and your customers. And then also organizations are leveraging AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning capabilities through these low-code application platforms as well. So apps are really the way of the future. And Microsoft is continuing to innovate on those applications of Power Apps and Flow to help you build your apps, right? So there's going to be Power App portals which you're going to be able to enable your internal and your external users access as well. And also the AI builder. A lot of things are going to be incorporating, bots and artificial intelligence. So AI builder is coming to market as well, with guided point and click AI applications. You can infuse AI really into your applications and even your processes as well, and even with built-in templates. So Microsoft Flow, that's a great way to automate and integrate your business processes. So with any business and with a project, you've got steps and you've got check marks and milestones. You've got one department that may need to know when another department's picked up, completed their process so that they can start. So with Flow, it helps you to move from the technical complexity and really the high cost of traditional business process management to make things easier, more manageable, more automated, which will help make your processes more efficient and cost effective. So again, adopting these low-code, workflow tools, you can balance that functionality requirement along with the accelerated development needs of a wide base of users. So again, getting apps to market quicker, hours, not months, and making them easier and to just get to market and to code as well. And again, organizations, you guys are looking for advanced capabilities that will build upon your existing processes and solutions. So rather than having to rip and replace something every time you want to build a new process, with Flow, you can build upon that and continue your forward motion to your digital transformation and efficiency. So Power Apps, it is available through CSP. So you can have that monthly subscription and add and subtract users and enjoy PCM care for all your needs as well. So again, reach out to your PCM AE and we'll help you figure out which plan is best for you. But it's available really in 3 different plans. There's the Power Apps per app plan, which is licensed by app, $10 per user per app per month. And then there's the Power Apps per user plan, which is licensed by user at $40 per user per month. Now the main difference is the Power Apps per app plan, it allows individual users to run a single application for a specific business scenario, based on the full capabilities of Power Apps. Whereas the Power Apps per user plan, it equips users to run unlimited applications. So single application, multiple application, unlimited applications. And then there's even some apps as well that can even be licensed through your Office 365, the Dynamics 365 platforms to even take that a step further. So for Flow, very similar. The Flow per user is typically and this is your MSRP pricing, $15 per user per month. You can equip your individual users to create unlimited workflows and business processes based on their unique needs. Now, and then they also license it per Flow per business process. Again, licensed by workflow, not per user. So it's $500, for 5 active workflows per month. And that way you can, implement those critical business processes with the capacity that's going to serve your teams, departments, and basically your entire organization. And there's also some functionality available through Office 365 as well. So again, reach out to your PCM AE and we'll get that, help figure out which model is the best for you. And we hear me say about AI Builder early on. So that's actually an add-on for Power Apps, Flow, and also Dynamics 365, and where you can, again, build those artificial intelligence, the bots, the machine learning, automated processes based on AI into your applications to make them more efficient and more, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically standalone with as minimal human interaction as possible, depending on what you want to do, how much or how little, but to really take that workload off your actual individual people who might have to be hands-on with it, all the time. So with the AI Builder Capacity add-on, it is a tenant-wide license, and it's just $500 per month, and each subscription includes 1 million service credits. So again, there's a lot of moving parts to that. It sounds like you want to go per app, per process, per user. How many service credits do you need? So again, that's why set up that modern licensing and visiting session. Engage with our Microsoft team and your PCM account executive, pcm.com/envision, and we'll have that. It's about an hour, 90 minutes, two-way conversation. It's not just us, throwing a bunch of information at you. We're not going to know what your best solution is going to be until we actually have that meaningful two-way interactive conversation with you to determine what your pain points are and what's on your roadmap and what you want to accomplish as your goal. So again, pcm.com/envision, and we'll schedule that with you and explore that further with you. All right, so let's talk about some updates on it's called the EA 500, but basically it's your enterprise agreement. So many of you who probably have enterprise agreements may recall about 3 years ago where Microsoft increased the floor threshold from 250 licenses to 500 licenses to qualify for an EA. Now at that time, customers who may not have been at 500 licenses were able to exercise a one-time 36-month extension. So that extension is due to expire here within the next year. So as a customer, that means you need to make a decision because you used your one-time extension. If you don't have 500 licenses, you're going to be like, what do we do? And that's what PCM is here for. We're here to help you out with that. So a couple of the two main options are really increase your license count to meet the EA minimum of 500, or explore another license type which would work for you, and then perhaps might even be a little better for you, perhaps, whether through the CSP program or through an MPSA agreement. Which one is better for you? Everybody's different. Every organization is different. And that's why we want to also have that modern licensing and visioning session with you at pcm.com/envision to schedule that, and we'll look at your enterprise agreement, what licenses you have, what your growth model is going to be. Hopefully you're growing, right? And determine which license count and which model or which license program, and maybe a couple of them actually. There are customers who have EAs, CSP, and MPSA agreements, depending on what makes the best sense for you and what you're planning on doing in the future. So it's not just one agreement fits all. That's why we're here to talk with you to figure out what you got going on so we can make the best recommendation for you. So again, pcm.com/envision, modern licensing and visioning session, and we'll help figure out what the best solution is for you and mitigate any impact that the 500 count floor for the enterprise agreement is going to have on you. So it's summertime. So what's a better time for summer than having a Surface Summer Sale? So now through September 30th, you can get up to $300 on select Surface devices. So you can make a big splash this summer. Don't miss out. And again, reach out to your PCM account executive. Let them know that you've got some, maybe you want to talk about some laptop or even desktop to laptop upgrade plans. You want to find out about this promo. We're here to save you some money. Microsoft wants to help you save you some money with your digital transformation to your modern desktop, which includes Microsoft Surface. So again, reach out to us. We'll get the Microsoft Surface team involved with you as well, determine your needs and the best devices to empower your employees and save up to $300 on select devices. And to go along with those select devices, you have accessories. What good is a device without an accessory? So you can also get Surface pens, the Surface dial, Surface mice, Surface type covers, and also Surface headphones as well. And there's even other accessories such as Surface docks and adapters and more. So again, you're not just buying a laptop or a tablet. You're buying the entire Microsoft product line that can come along with it and make that more efficient, more effective, and more productive for your employees. So to learn more about the Surface, set up a modern workplace envisioning session. Again, pcm.com/envision. I'm not sure if you're noticing a trend there with that website address, but really we have a number of envisioning sessions, from collaboration to modern workplace to modern licensing. So really anything that you have questions on, we're happy to set up some time with you and learn about you, and you can learn about us, and we'll learn about the best solution for you. So again, pcm.com/envision. So Inspire updates. So last month it was about Microsoft Inspire. It used to be called the Worldwide Partner Conference, which you're probably thinking, well, why do I care about a partner conference? Well, it's not just about partners, it's about customers and Microsoft's vision. And this is a great time for them to roll out their philosophy, their vision, and the solutions that they're going to be deploying to customers as well. So I thought that would be important for you guys to know, because these are the products and the solutions and things and thought leadership from Microsoft leadership that you're going to see go to market and for the future of the technology industry. So I thought some of these would be beneficial for you to digest. So first there was they on day one they kind of kicked off with an author and business consultant named Si-eun, and he talked about business relationships and what it takes to really take them to the next level. What's involved in a relationship, and really a business relationship. It's like any relationship, really. Whether it's personal or with your partners or your family, whatever, any relationship. So to really make it successful, there's 5 key things: listening, empathy, patience, desire to do good for the other person, and honesty, because honesty builds trust, right? And that also, is internal relationships too, even between, the business leaders and the employees, the workforce. And he raised a really good point too. I mean, you really have to trust each other internally as well. The employees need to trust leadership. Leadership needs to have trust in their employees in order to make that business relationship effective and prosper. So we ended up closing that section out by, it really makes sense. The responsibility of leadership has nothing to do with being in charge. It's about taking care of those who are in our charge. And again, that involves making the whole company prosper, taking care of the employees who are going to take care of the business. Because a lot of the times the employees are the customer-facing folks that really drive a business's process and also their reputation in the market. We also talked about with Justin Althoff, who's the executive vice president for the worldwide commercial business for Microsoft, about democratizing digital and changing the way we work. And that's about how Microsoft is creating new technologies for improved accessibility. And what that includes is modern skills. A lot of it's involved in coding and frontline worker skills. So Microsoft is actually spending $100 million on technologies and solutions to enable customers, who are you guys, your businesses, with modern skills, basically making your workforce more effective. And you're going to see in a few more slides here about application development, and making your employees more efficient and productive, and enabling those low level and the citizen developers to build apps and to build your business processes to make your business more efficient as well. And that also includes putting AI to work, because that's going to enrich the work that people do. He also talked about connectedness, and he put that into the position of, Microsoft and the Microsoft solutions can connect the front lines to the boardroom, because every CEO wants to be a fly on the wall of the front lines. A lot of times they currently do that. You may have a CEO or leadership, maybe listen to customer calls with your employees, or look at reports to see how a certain business unit or process is functioning. Well, with Microsoft solutions, now you can do that more efficiently by with Power BI dashboards and analyzing that data and seeing what's going on in your business, and identifying those maybe those customer or market trends. So he also said that there's currently a big skills deficit, and Microsoft wants to make these developer skills more inheritable. Right now, there's your elite developers, who's your high-level coding, who are your power coders, power developers. But there's a lot of who he's calling your citizen developers, who are, I don't want to say entry-level developers, but your more broad-based developers who are just building quick apps, not necessarily the your giant coders with the real massive skills that you hear about in news and apps and things like that. But it basically wants to make those skills more inheritable, to pass those skills and that knowledge onto the elite developers, onto the citizen developers, to empower them all over the world. I mean, in fact, basically democratizing digital, it's not just changing the way we work, but it means using today's technology, not just for our business problems, but to solve the world's problems, which we certainly can do. And that's why this coming fiscal year is going to be Microsoft fiscal year goes from July 1 through June 30th. So that's why you see maybe fiscal year 20. Well, we're not in calendar year 2020 yet, but that's why you see fiscal year 20 on here. So this last fiscal year it's been a landmark year for not just for Microsoft, but for customers as well and their successes. So Microsoft is really talking about 4 key aspects of value generation, and that's really the purpose of the digital transformation of the value that Microsoft and Microsoft solutions can bring to your business and ultimately to your customers. So they really have that value generation, and again, this might even be the value you provide to your customers as well. So this is not something that's that's solely confined to Microsoft. But if you really think about these, it really applies to any value that an organization would have. So you need to have a vision and a strategy that really taps into the human culture of your organization. So what's a culture? A culture is what people do when they're not supervised. And again, that goes to, honesty builds trust. Can you trust your employees? Do you know what you know they're going to make the right decision for your organization? You're going to give them the empowerment based on the skills that you're going to give them, and obviously your internal training on what they should do when they're not supervised, and build that culture of doing the right thing. And then it's also the value generation is that unique potential that unlocks and amplifies the value that it creates. Again, doing the right thing for your customers, helping your customers, and again, that's whether it's you're helping your customers or Microsoft helping you as their customer, they want to create that value, for you. And then, capabilities enable organizational transformation. The more capable you are, the better you are to make your own business more efficient, more productive, and that's what Microsoft is here for. So there's really 4 key solution areas that Microsoft is investing in that you're going to see over the next year that's designed to really help, modernize your business. You're going to hear about the modern workplace. You're going to hear about business applications, applications and infrastructure, and then data and artificial intelligence. So with the modern workplace, again, making your workplace more productive, more efficient, less siloed, more collaborative. We're going to have breakthrough collaboration capabilities. You're going to increase the identity protection innovation and make your workers and your data more secure. There's a lot of compliance rules out there in GDPR. A lot of countries and even states in the US are adopting similar standards. So Microsoft is, again, building solutions that are going to help you stay compliant with those enhanced compliance requirements. And again, just deeper Microsoft Flow and Power Apps integration into your daily processes in your organization so you can really keep your finger on the pulse of your business and what's going on. With business applications, out of the box AI applications are really a focus. Rather than having to spend a lot of time building an AI artificial intelligence process, a lot of that's going to be templatized out of the box. You can use AI Builder to really just drop in AI processes into your apps, and it really can be that simple. Keeping the code low code development, machine learning models, also a common data model with unified data, apps and infrastructure. The Internet of Things is always going to be innovating. There's going to be that hybrid and intelligent edge innovation. Developer ops innovation, that was definitely a huge topic for Microsoft this conference. They really see the future and the focus of building apps and developer ops, and even using Microsoft Azure, you can even build out those test environments for you and Visual Studio and really take advantage of those scenarios and those environments as well. Aside from just Azure Sentinel for enterprise security operations and Windows virtual desktops, which you've probably heard a lot about with Windows 7 coming end of life soon, and also with some of the Windows Server 2008 is coming end of life in January. SQL Server 2008 has gone end of life. So a lot of things are moving to the cloud, including the virtual desktops, again, to make it more secure and more efficient for organizations. Data and AI, limitless data. Data is just exploding, basically. It's ridiculous. I forget what the number he said, but it's just an enormous amount of data that's being collected. We'll talk about that in the next slide or two as well. Unmatched analytics, you got the data, you got to know how to analyze it, you got to have the tools to analyze it. Mixed reality, and also Azure and artificial intelligence formation. So these are really the areas which you're going to see Microsoft investing in this year and offering more and more solutions to make to your business. So building upon some of these, security. Security is huge. Hackers haven't gone away. Cybersecurity is still a key focus. And that's why Microsoft spends about $1 billion per year on R&D just around security solutions to make sure that your information is tight. No one's going to try to hack in. Keep the malicious emails at bay and ensure your users have their identity protected and their credentials protected. Microsoft Teams. That's another area that's exploding. I don't know if many of you remember how quickly SharePoint took off 10 years ago, but Microsoft Teams is on a faster growth trajectory than SharePoint. A lot of organizations and a lot of users are loving it. They're adapting it, they're rolling it out, they're playing with it, they're becoming more collaborative with Microsoft Teams. And that's important to know as well, because Skype for Business is going to start to be online. It's going to start to be retired in the next year or so, and that's going to be moving those capabilities to Microsoft Teams as well. Power Apps. Lots of applications can be plugged and played into Microsoft Teams and other Microsoft applications. So again, seeing that theme: applications, developer, building apps, plug and play, making it easier for your organization to take advantage of all that technology. Azure cloud migration. So this is actually a pretty scary statistic. I didn't think the number was this high, but apparently according to surveys and studies it is. Microsoft is actually estimating that 60% of the current Windows Server and SQL Server install base are still using 2008 and 2008 R2 versions. And that's important because SQL Server 08 and 08 R2 went end of life last month. Windows Server 2008 and 2008 R2 are coming end of life on January 14th of 2020. So if you're on SQL 2008 R2, you're running into support software, you may run into some compliance issues. If your database, crashes, there's no support. I mean, you can try, there's no patches, there's no fixes, there's no hotfix support, no product updates. You can try calling Microsoft support. You might get someone who's nice enough to try to give you their 5 minutes of best efforts, but ultimately they're going to say, hey man, sorry, you're running out of support software. That's all I can do for you. So really don't put your data at risk. You need to upgrade to current version of software, or even if you just want it for the security updates, you can host that in Azure as well. Same thing for Windows Server. You've got a little more time on that because you've got till January, but really, if you're going to be planning a Windows Server upgrade, especially if you've got any kind of server infrastructure, you're really, and you haven't already started thinking about that, you're already behind the curve, because you really think about it, for the planning, deployment, and just the migration of the data of your Windows servers, it's going to take time. So you really need to start engaging on that. PCM has a robust services department here to help you out. We've got certified engineers and multiple Microsoft Gold competencies. You reach out to your PCM account executive or schedule an envisioning session, and we can help get that scoped out and rolling for you, and let you know how our services folks and migration teams can help you out. And speaking of which, Microsoft is, they recognize that the workloads, a lot of workloads are going to the cloud and Azure with the new, basically pay-as-you-go model. You don't have to invest in heavy on-premise server infrastructure anymore. You can use the cloud economics assessment, and you can move those workloads to the cloud and just pay for what you really need, not for what you're projecting you might need. And so Microsoft is training employees to really be able to have those conversations with customers and roll out those skills as well. And again, with the analytics and Power BI, data is going to be the currency of the future, and those who can build AI and applications will benefit from that new currency. So then we heard from Satya Nadella, who's everyone knows he's CEO of Microsoft, and he wants to make the business future ready and digitally driven. And that's because Microsoft's mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Now, to do this, everybody needs to come together. Consumers, organizations, businesses, IT, resellers, and manufacturers such as PCM and Microsoft. Everybody needs to come together because there's 7 billion people on the planet, and everybody wants to help. We want to help every business to be great at technology. Says Satya, and that's really Microsoft's goal. Be great at technology and empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And it's really going to be the intelligent cloud and the intelligent edge that's going to drive these empowered experiences and the digital transformation of the future. And some interesting statistics. By 2030, 10% of the gross domestic product is going to be tech spend, what you guys spend on technology. Now, the thing that you're like, okay, well, that's a lot, but okay, I believe reasonable number. I can believe that, right? That's probably what we're saying. But the other 90% of your non-tech spend is still going to be digitally driven. Whether it's on non-technology spend, but you're still looking at other processes that are based on technology spend to incorporate or to determine what investments you're making into your organization. As an example of that, the non-tech industry is actually hiring software engineers 11% faster than tech industries. And these are folks that you guys are hiring, and again, to build apps, to build cars, to build airplanes. An interesting example was, today's typical automobile has about 150 million lines of code. Well, who codes that out? Who designs that? Your guys in your organization and your software engineers. For example, we talked about cars. The auto industry is actually hiring software engineers 3 times faster than they're hiring mechanical engineers. And that's because everything is becoming so computer and code driven, and that you really need those folks, those developers and those software engineers to design those cars, to make sure they're running properly, to make sure you're, even for things as basic as, make sure the speedometer is reading correctly, or says you're doing 60 and make sure you're not really doing 120, right? And to just, the diagnostics that are involved in a lot of cars today, letting you know, used to be just the old check engine light. Nowadays, you can get an app to your, message to your phone, or even to your service dealer saying, hey, Blair's car has needs an oil change. And they'll set up the appointment for you. I mean, there's really an amazing amount of technology just goes into cars, let alone other things we talk about like airplanes and things like that as well. But automobiles is huge. I mean, 3 times, software engineers 3 times faster than they're hiring mechanical engineers. That says a lot, and that says a lot about the coding and the application development that's going into all of our everyday products. So, with these large opportunities in the tech industry, and also as the non-tech industry is hiring technology folks and collecting all this data on people's cars, and really anything. That's just one example, but really everything you touch, whether it's cookies, cars, internet chat conversations, everybody has this huge responsibility regarding privacy, cybersecurity, and ethical AI. So really, in order to be future ready, and this is really for any business, not just for Microsoft to their customers, we need to earn the trust of our partners and customers, whether it's a business partner or a customer. You have to trust who you're doing business with and be able to have the faith in their processes and their solutions. So, using Azure AI and tech to break down barriers. Again, we already talked about Microsoft is democratizing AI so that every developer can build apps for AI, improve on the system itself, and even expand services around AI. So currently, about 95% of the Fortune 500 out there is currently running Azure today in some fashion, and especially with coming innovations like these, it's probably even going to be more people. SQL hyperscale is coming to market. It's already in market, and that's really limitless scale and hyperscale for setting up the future of AI as it's set out to be the world's biggest database. And it was really interesting. One of the demos around SQL hyperscale, and you can read about this in, I believe it was last month's Microsoft customer newsletter that I put out, the PCM customer newsletter, or is it this month? Either way, reach out to PCMAE, and we could talk to you about hyperscale. There was a nice demo, and they showed us like, okay, well, we've got 10,000 cars. They've got all these data points that can be collected for performance, and within, all I did was like move a bar graph. So okay, well, now instead of collecting data, looking at data for 10,000 cars, now it's a million cars, and within like an instant, like within like minutes, you went from say a couple of gigabytes and 20 cores up to, I think it wound up being like 200 terabytes and 2,400 cores allocated to that one process within a couple of minutes. Now think about, if you were to do that in your own data center on premise, that would be almost an impossible task. It certainly would take a long time and a lot of dough, a lot of money. But to be able to do that just simply on a portal, on a website in Azure, to have that kind of expansive scale and that quick, hyperscale, that's game changing. I mean, that's amazing. Whether you're, doing a process, you need to really test a load on something, or a process you're developing an app, or you're want to roll it out to your manufacturing plants. Being able to implement that kind of scale that quickly is game changing. Another thing that was really cool was neutral text to speech. So really, language barriers are basically eliminated through Azure speech translation, where holoportation and language translations are combined. And the example they displayed on that was the presenter had her HoloLens on, and there was also a display, you know, to see what she was seeing. And it was basically a real life, I guess, digital image of her. And as she was speaking in English, it was in real time without any lag and accurately translating it to, I think it was Japanese. You know, so no more, you know, online or waiting for a couple seconds or a minute of lag while it, you know, whatever process translates language. It was right there, real time, you know, speech translation. It was just amazing. And then the cloud and edge for healthcare. A great example that was brought up, you know, and displayed was bringing aid to South Africa with their healthcare challenges. So Microsoft worked with a medical organization. They actually created a cloud-enabled backpack. It was solar powered. It was backpack. It had its, you know, laptop in there, and it was built to basically test for 10 common diseases using Azure Analytics. So rather than, you know, collecting a bunch of, you know, samples or, you know, blood tests and taking it back to, you know, to the lab and waiting 2 weeks to see what someone's got, the technology is there today using the artificial intelligence and Azure and the machine learning and just the data that you can diagnose someone in 2 weeks. Now it's 10 minutes. So, and again, that's just one example in South Africa, but it can really be scaled out to really any place where there's remote locations or a lack of proper health care or any business process. I mean, they're using that for healthcare. You know, it could be for geologists. It could be for, you know, testing water. I mean, there's any number of applications, but being able to make things that portable and that powerful, I think is huge as well. Now, one other statistic that was discussed was that 73% of the data that we collect is still left, or that your customers connect, you connect, customers connect organizations, is still left unanalyzed because it's left in individual apps. If you've got maybe 5 different apps in your organization, yeah, it makes sense that they don't necessarily talk to each other, but they could each be collecting data that's relevant to your organization, but it's not being shared with the other apps or with the organization because it's siloed in those apps. With Microsoft technologies, however, you know, that data can be, you know, immediately reflected in a SQL database in Azure, you know, not just for the app, but for the convenience of anyone in the organization, no matter where they are. And that's why we need to kind of, Microsoft wants to bring all these, you know, bring all this data together, you know, using Dynamics 365, the Power Platform, because it is to connect the world to the business cloud. And the Power Platform empowers those citizen developers with tools such as Power BI, Microsoft Flow, AI Builder. And on the other hand, AI Builder is a new tool where you can bring AI really to any application that you want and build in, you know, that artificial intelligence or that, you know, that AI learning into it. So a little bit back to data. So at the start of this decade, this digital decade, it's starting off with 25 times more data than at the beginning of the last decade. And that's a lot. I mean, if you think about it, that's a lot of data. But again, if everything you touch, you know, whether it's your phone, traffic sensors going down the road, you know, really anything you can think of is collecting data. So this, and that's why there's just that explosion, which ties into one of the 4 things that the last decade we just ended saw 4 big leaps. You know, computational power, the cloud, and that explosion of data we're just talking about, and then artificial intelligence. So again, today it's not just about data, but, you know, how we're using it and changing the world, hopefully for good, right? So if the tech industry were its own country, and this is an interesting number, it goes to how fast the spend is for tech industry, the GDP would be make it the 3rd largest country in the world. And that's how wide scale, you know, our tech industry has become, whether it's, you know, including Microsoft and PCM and, you know, perhaps you guys, if you're a tech industry as well, or tech-based or taking advantage of tech-based technologies. But it's how far it's involved over the last few years. But with growing, you know, these businesses and the opportunities comes greater accountabilities. So we heard from Brad Smith, who's the president and chief legal officer for Microsoft. And, you know, he kind of mirrored what he said last year. You know, we need to step up and assume more responsibility. We need to bring the people, the governments, and competitors together to be able to control the power of the AI tech. And again, going off to what Si-eun said at the beginning of the conference, we need to earn the world's trust. So the GDPR, General Data Protection Rules, largely in Europe, but it is expanding rapidly throughout the world, and that's because a lot of organizations and countries and governments are holding that privacy is a fundamental human right, and it's also a critical enterprise need. So Brad also highlighted two areas where our ethical responsibilities, they do need to be enhanced, and that's around cybersecurity and AI. So for cybersecurity, it really needs to be, and again, this is any business. This isn't just Microsoft. This isn't just PCM. It's any business. It should be our utmost priority to secure and protect our customers. And then he talked about where the Paris Call for Trust and Security, which built upon last year's Tech Accord, as far as, we will do no harm, and especially last year, we're still hearing about, whether it's election meddling or attacks on infrastructure or just cyber hacking and, cyber attacks in general and hacking. But, there's an increased call to protect the citizens, protect elections, and protect the internet. And of that, 66 governments, 347 industry leaders, and 130 civil and social society groups have signed on to the Paris call, and that's to protect the citizens, do no harm, deny work to deny the technology resources to people who do want to do harm. And then he moved into responsible AI. Again, he talked about this last year, but he also built upon it this year as well, because it is an ongoing concern and an ongoing thing that businesses and coders and developers and everybody needs to be aware of. It's not about what AI is not about what computers can do, but what they should do. And he brought to our AI is not really something totally new today, right? There was actually a book in 1950 by Isaac Asimov, when robots first started coming out. That there needs to be 3 laws regarding, ethics and accountabilities for, AI, but also, robots, this artificial technology, right? The first one is a robot may not injure a human being. Number 2, a robot must obey orders given to it by a human being. And number 3, a robot must protect its own existence as long as it does not conflict with Rule 1 or Rule 2. And some of the examples we've seen, really where that turned, at least in the movies, turned left. It was like, who remembers 2001: A Space Odyssey, where Hal the robot wouldn't let Dave into the ship, or we've all seen and heard the Terminator. I mean, I think that's definitely not following the three rules. But I mean, it's there. I mean, if we can think about it, we're building AI. It needs to be accountable to humans. And there needs to be that accountability, even for the folks who are programming the AI for these machines, for these robots, to make sure that they have the ethics, and that the people who are installing the ethics are accountable as well. So I mean, it's great to have AI ethical principles. It's great to say that we're not going to do anything bad, but it needs to be accountable. They need to operationalize them. We need to actually walk the walk and not just talk the talk. We have to put these ethical principles to use. And that even includes saying no to deals or sales, where AI could be used for bias or bad. And that's an important statement too, especially for a lot of organizations. Businesses are around to make business, right? They could be building apps, they could be, selling software solutions to other folks. But, Microsoft has taken the lead on that and said, we're going to say, they're going to say no to deals or sales or whatever, that where, their technology and their solutions, even AI, could be used, for negative purposes. And that's kind of all I had for you today. I mean, I know we kind of give you a lot about a lot of different topics, but again, if you have any questions on anything we discussed today, reach out to your PCM account executive or schedule an envisioning session with our Microsoft team at pcm.com/envision, and we'll have that conversation with you. We'll show you what's new in technology, what solutions can help benefit your business. And again, it's not just us saying, hey, you're here by Microsoft. We want to learn about our customers, because that's how we can make the best recommendation, the best solutions, recommendations for you guys, and build that relationship. So reach out to us. We'll schedule some time with you, and we look forward to hearing from you. And aside from that, we hope you all have a great rest of the day.